Hey, when nothing's happening, when nothing's moving or shaking in your life, how do you deal with those days? How do you deal with days that seem to have desolation and you seem to be deserted? How do you deal with those days? This is a common shared experience, an experience that we all go through in life. We all have times in our lives where things don't seem to be moving and shaking. It seems like the leaves are falling off the trees rather than the fruit bearing, the tree bearing fruit. Sometimes in life it just feels like nothing's going on. This is our shared human experience. If you haven't endured that or gone through it, maybe one day you will. And I say endured not as if it's a bad thing, but as if it's just a human experience we deal with, and we are all going to likely have to face it. And we don't all deal with it in the same ways, but I think Robert Frost gives us an idea of how we can deal with it. From out of his book, A Boy's Will, it's a collection of his poems. From out of that book, we have My November Guest, written by Robert Frost, the great Robert Frost. My name is Carter Curricula. My name is Carter. This is Carter Curricula, where I break down text. I do close reading of poetry, specifically poems written by dead American poets, so that we can savor our shared humanity. We all have a shared humanity here. And this poem gives us insight on how we might be able to endure that, live through, live strong, grow from that human experience where it feels like nothing is happening in life. I'll read the poem, My November Guest, and then I will make sense of it. My sorrow, when she's here with me, thinks these dark days of autumn rain are beautiful as days can be. She loves the bare, the withered tree. She walks the sodden pasture lane. Her pleasure will not let me stay. She talks, and I am fain to list. She's glad the birds are gone away. She's glad her simple worsted gray is silver now with clinging mist. The desolate, deserted trees, the faded earth, the heavy sky, the beauties she so truly sees. She thinks I have no eye for these, and vexes me for a reason why. Not yesterday I learned to know the love of bare November days before the coming of the snow, but it were vain to tell her so. They are better for her praise. Let's take a look and see what the poet is doing here in this poem. We have two characters essentially. We have the speaker, and then we have this character named Sorrow, or known as Sorrow. Sorrow seems to be symbolic for the experience that we all have. Sorrow. Sorrow oftentimes is the response that we have when things are not going on in our life, when it seems like we're losing things, when it seems like the pace of our life sort of comes to slows down. Sorrow seems to represent that. And sorrow represents that, and we see it here. She is here with me. She thinks dark days of autumn rain are beautiful as days can be. So she has an idea that autumn is beautiful. Sorrow loves the bare, the withered tree. Sorrow loves it when the tree is done bearing fruit. Spring is over, and now we're moving into fall or autumn, and then we're gonna take go on to winter. But while we're in autumn, things get barren, things wither. He walked the sodden pasture lane. Her pleasure, I like the fact that he starts off with pleasure, and pasture here kind of has a little bit of a ring to it. Her pleasure will not let me stay. She talks, and I am fain to list. She's glad the birds are gone. She's glad her simple worsted gray is silvered now with clinging mist. S- Everything is barren. Things are have come to a standstill. Things are not. Let me move my face over. Things are not as vibrant and as lively as springtime or maybe other times of the year. It is now, things are now wrapping up. Desolate, deserted trees, the faded earth. Now, imagery here, imagery after imagery here, as you could see, the desolate, deserted trees, the faded earth, the heavy sky, the beauties she so truly sees. She thinks I have no eye for these, and vexes me for a reason why. But she's wrong about the speaker. The speaker actually enjoys the desolate, deserted trees. He enjoys the faded earth, the heavy sky. The speaker thinks there's beauty in the nothingness, beauty in the winding down of nature, the natural tendency of nature to come through these cycles where it comes back every single year to wind down in November. And it is a guest. November comes and it goes, the autumn time comes and it goes, but it'll be back, right? And during this time, you don't have to, it'll be gone too, because during this time, you don't have to see November as some terrible time of the year. It's just a time of the year where things look different and things are happening that are different, but it's still the human experience. We will pass through it like we always do. We'll come back around like most things do. And not yesterday I learned to know and love of the love of bare November days. I when things are barren, when things are not happening in life, when things seem to come to a halt, when I have to stop things in order to do other things, but in the meantime I'm stopped and there's nothing seemingly going on. Can you love those days before the coming of snow? This is a time where it's just nothing. Like things are just falling off. It's There's nothing going on in life. Just slowing down of life that's happening. The my no, November guest. This guest is coming at least once a year, but it's also going. The guest is also leaving. Another thing that I want to show to you about the style of the poem. As you can see, there's a hanging indentation on second line and fifth line of each stanza, as well as there's a rhyme scheme, as you can see, that's going on here. The author, the speaker or author comes back to the use of the E sound, long E sound on the third stanza. It's fourth stanza, all new sounds are happening, but it's the same rhyme scheme. Actually, not all new sounds. The C comes back up. Same rhyme scheme though. I think the repetition of the rhymes that they come back over. I love the Bear November Days. This is what we. This is what happens over and over again. There's a repetition of a few of the rhyming sounds. The sounds A, C, and A come back, and I think that's intentionally done, just to remind the reader that this is something that has happened and it will happen again, as far as why as the reason why it's repetitive. In this poem, I think that the theme in this poem is be glad in the days of nothingness. Be glad in the days when not much is going on, because those days are beautiful too. Those days are the days that we have as human beings, and there's beauty in those days. Desolation and the deserted trees, the fact that trees have no leaves, no fruit, nothing is on it, that is part of the reason why we think it's beautiful. It's beautiful because of the perceived negative things that are taking place on that thing. That is why it's beautiful. This is a beautiful poem. It is a reminder for you and me, when life starts to wind down, when life starts to sort of taper off, that we can see it as beautiful. In fact, as Robert Frost writes in one of his other poems, it is a time where we can come into our own, right? We can see it as a time where it's not active. We can begin to listen to our heart. We can begin to come into our own being. We can begin to shape our own views of our own life. We can begin to work on our emotional world when, it's the days of November. When the November guest comes, we can see it as a time where we can restore ourselves of our power, where we can reflect on the good that we can do in the world. I mean, there's so much we can do in the days of when our November guest comes. Welcome in the November guest. Welcome in the Come on in, November guest. Come on in. Nothing to do, because there's so much that I can do when there's nothing going on. So come on in. Come on in. We welcome. We welcome the November guest. The question that I have for you is, can you welcome the November guest? That's all I have for this one. I'll see you on the next one.